Welcome to Melanated Mondays. I'm your host, Aj.
And I'm Tay, and we're here to review our favorite books written for us by us.
Period.
Today we will be reviewing Haven by Rebekah Weatherspoon. Please be aware that there will be spoilers and explicit content for mature audiences only. There were no trigger warnings for this book that I'm aware of.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
friend. What'd you think?
I thought it was okay. I would rate it probably like a 3.5. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go like a 3.5.
Yeah.
It
Um,
was I the beginning was good.
yeah, the
Like how
intro to the book was like great.
the intro started off really strong. I just wasn't you guys know I always say this. If we read a book and I don't want the main male character to be my book boyfriend, then you lost me. You lost me.
Yeah.
Our main male character, he gave real corny to me. And the fact that he was supposed to be a Dom, I would not listen to that man.
Not one bit.
That man could not have me on my knees. That man could not have me doing anything for him. So that did it for me. He just felt so corny. I wasn't a fan. That's
Yeah, I agree. At first, I thought he was gonna be like this rugged, like bearded, you know, man who was gonna be like super strong and like whatever. But like he was, he had like pissy fits at sometimes. Like he would say some weird shit, and then he was kind of a bitch, and like I wasn't feeling him at all.
no. So pretty much a short synopsis is we have our main character Shep, and then we have Claudia. And so Shep lives in the mountains on his little mountaintop, and one day he hears screaming and commotion, and he comes outside, and Claudia is running up to his house, and she's being chased by a man who has clearly abused her and like hunted her. And so Shep kills the man, and then he takes her to the hospital to get checked over and everything. And pretty much from that point, Claudia has trauma bonded with him
Yeah,
and he with her, because they went through this trauma filled situation. Her brother was also being hunted by the guy and ended up being killed. So she goes back home, and pretty much she can't stop thinking about Shep, and she becomes like obsessed. So she comes back to his little town, and pretty much they agree that they will fuck each other for a week, and then that'll be it, and they'll go their separate ways. And obviously it doesn't go like that because they end up falling in love with each other.
yeah, and like yay for love and yay for healing, but also like the trauma was top tier and trauma bonding was definitely top tier. But I thought like because of the trauma that she went through, like I feel like he was a little too like I guess not mean enough. He was too nice. He was like Mr. Nice Guy. And like in this day and age like of dark romance, like nice guys kind of finish last. And so
And do, because sir, don't nobody want that nice shit. Get that out of here.
yes, like be mean to me, talk to me reckless and stupid.
He wasn't like aggressive at all. Like he was very nice, very caring. I love that for her. I love her finding a man that loves her and is caring. But like he didn't have any like rough edge at
Mm,
all. Like he was just overly nice. And then him being a dom, I just couldn't see it because he was just over the top nice. That even him being a dom in those scenes, like it just came off very corny.
yeah, I would have laughed at him. Like I would not take him serious at all because he was he was more so like a sweetheart. Like I would have liked if this was just a straight romance book and they didn't
Yes.
even have sex. Like
Yes.
sex was not even necessary for them. The whole bondage, storyline, like sex storyline didn't need to be there. Like this could have been a straight romance book where they had a traumatic incident and like they have a little trauma that like, you know, they're trying to work through or heal through. And, you know, she leaves and then comes back and then, you know, they maybe had sex one time and then end of story, boom. Like I did not need the sex in this book because I wasn't interested in it at all. Like it wasn't good
Yes.
to me. Like the scenes, I won't say the scenes were just bad bad in the sense of like they weren't good, but like knowing who Shep was reading it, like if these were in a different book, I would be all for them. But because it was Shep, it wasn't so it didn't give me any kind of dom feeling at all.
Definitely not dropping my panties for Shep.
No.
Like
Like you said, I would not crawl across the room for him.
he was not like he was not a male main character that brought me to my knees where I was like, whatever this man needs, I will provide. He was
Yeah.
like, oh, he's so nice. Like friend zone is what he gave. Like you said, like if this was just a romance, it would be fine. Like I completely agree the sex was not needed because their personalities just were very
Yeah. I'm
it
like,
was just it was like the characters were very vanilla, but then they were having this sex that wasn't vanilla, but you couldn't like separate the character from the sex. Like you it already was like they're both just very nice. And this
yeah.
was just not it just wasn't believable to
It's
me.
really like giving like the sweetest old couple you've ever met that are just like super cute and super sweet.
Yes.
And they are doing bondage behind closed doors, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it makes no sense why this is happening. And so, like, I didn't get that, like, oh, I want to read about their sex scenes. I felt like it was like, mom, dad, stop.
Yes.
Like, ew.
That's kind of how I felt. I was like, this is I don't know, and the characters' personalities just kind of seemed older.
Yeah.
Like, so that could have been it. It could have been also that I listened to the audiobook and that made it cringe. I don't know. I really I just really think it was the fact that he was like super over the top nice that
Yeah.
made it just like not believable. Like, I mean, I don't need you to just dog me out, but I also like shit,
Stop lying.
can we get I mean, slut me out though for real. But no, like but can we can we get a little bit of like aggression, a little bit of I don't know, like he was just Mr. Nicey Nice. And
Don't nobody need all that. Like, I really wanted some
when I
more
read a
dominance from
book
him.
and it's a dark romance, was this supposed to be a dark romance?
I believe so.
Yeah, this was not giving dark romance. This
It
was
was,
just it was just giving regular romance, which is
yeah.
fine.
Well,
But
I feel like the bondage was where it was supposed to be dark, but I feel like because of the way that they performed bondage, and like I'm not a pro by any means, and so they had like their safe words and stuff, and they practice good self-care and stuff, but like he was like he had a scene that really threw me the fuck off was like when he was like um they had like I think he like fucked her mouth or something and then like went to like he got out the room and left and then she like kind of followed him and was like what's wrong and he's like I didn't practice aftercare like I would never do that and it's like boy just do it like why are you being a bitch about it. Like, you know, like I just didn't, he didn't give off the vibes of like if a man, like, I mean, there's books where like she gets fucked in the fucking woods and then, you know, he's like right after they're like giving her a bath and sucking
yeah,
on her toes and then just treating her like a fucking queen. Like, I didn't understand why it was so hard for him to just do that. And
he
maybe
was
I'm just,
nice. He was
I'm like,
just
he was a
nice.
sweetheart. Like, he
Because
didn't want to.
even in the one scene where she's giving him head and he's like being so gentle with her and like she like he's going very slow and she is like eager but he's just I'm like boy if you don't just fuck her face already
That's what
like
I'm saying.
come on come with the come on here
Come
what are
on
we
with the come on.
come on with the fucking come on like
Like you don't fuck her.
if
Like
you just fuck her face and get it over with like she's ready she's anticipating and you're just like well let me go slow because I don't want to choke you I better be gagging. I should have tears in my eyes. What are
Yes.
you doing?
Like, I should not be able to breathe for a couple seconds. What the fuck do you mean you don't want to hurt me? Hurt me.
Like,
Like,
yeah, I think I'm just sick. That's all.
yeah,
I really
we just might need therapy,
I
but
think I'm sick. I really am. And so I feel like when I read books where the characters are just like cutesy, I'm not a cutesy. Like I'm not a cutesy romance. I'm like a fuck my face romance. I
yeah,
guess.
and that's
So
okay. Like, I'm all for the face fucking because at the end of the day, like, that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to read a book about cutesy stuff. And not saying that the book was bad because the story, like when it first started out, was really interesting. Like it had me on the edge of my seat because I was like, oh, what's going on? But I also feel like that part wasn't wrapped up enough for me. Like
I
it
agree.
was, but it wrapped up so quick that it didn't bring any more impact that like I feel like we should have known a little bit more and got I don't know. I kind of wanted something more with that on like why they were doing it and stuff, and not just like, oh, it's done.
Yeah, I agree. Cause it's like in the beginning that story was like it's like, oh shit, what's happening? What's
Yeah, it
going on?
was
And you're into it.
intriguing.
And that's the thing. I'm like, I agree. Like if we had that story with a little bit more info and then just kind of nix the sex scenes, then we're good. I just think his character just made it for me personally, I just like a more aggressive type of man. Not
Yeah,
saying you gotta beat my ass or anything, but
girl.
maybe. But but like I just like a more aggressive man. I'm just not I'm not into the nice guy thing.
Yeah.
Really like super sweetsy, overly nice guy. That's just not my thing. So if I can't see the character being my book boyfriend, then I will still finish the book and be there for the story. But that aspect, as far as me being like very much invested because I'm like, oh, I love this character, it kind of just takes that away from me.
Yeah. I feel like because this book continues in like a series, I don't know if I'll be like super interested in continuing because I want the smut, but I feel like if you like books that are more romancy and they have a little bit of, a character that is a little bit more corny and that's like your type. Like not saying that he was just like super corny, but he gave a little corny and he just wasn't for me. So I feel it, but I feel like there's people out there that will really like this book because too it's not overly sexy.
Yeah.
I mean, it still has a little bit of like, bondage play, but it was nothing like too crazy if you're like dabbling in and like getting to know that type of,
I think it's a good,
genre.
like, if you're trying to get into like dark romance, I feel like it would be a good like first book because it's not, it ain't too crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it ain't The Ritual or nothing. It's just
The Ritual was like my first, like one of my first intros to dark romance. And yikes. That's when I knew I was a sick motherfucker.
sick. I'm so sick. And that's the thing. I feel like anytime we read a book that's like lacking that, then I'm just like, oh, it was cute. It
Yeah.
was okay. It was cute. Like it was a cute story. They fell in love and they had their conflict when she decided to go back home for a job and then she obviously missed him and loved him so much that she came back and they were together. It was a cute story.
Yeah.
I just didn't need the bondage with it because I just couldn't picture him doing that.
Yeah, that didn't go for me, but like you said, it was a very cute story. I do like the romance aspect of this book, and I still recommend the book. I don't think it was horrible. I just think it's for a certain audience, and we are too much of some sick bitches to say that this is our audience. We're not the
I
audience,
agree. I
but it
definitely
was good.
feel yes. I'm like if you are into that or if you're really into like the main male character being super sweet and overly attentive, then yes, that would be for you. I agree. I think we're just like you said, two sick bitches and so we need a little bit more than that, but it still was a good book. So if you're looking into getting into some spicy books, this would be a good like beginner book.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. But
Alrighty, well, thank you guys for listening.
yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.